welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little dive into r/AmITheA porthole, and I can tell you something for free today. I fully believe that my cat is a porthole, for he has left his fur in my eyeball to be the bane of my existence. I cannot get it out. I can just feel it there. It's one of those really fine cat hairs, and I now feel, how could my familiar, how could he betray me like this? Anyway, enough of my world viewing globes. If that sounds like something you want to listen to with me today and you would like to judge whether we have some big old gaping portholes on the roster, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please, thank you. Of course, quick disclaimer, any opinions that I give on the post we read today are just opinions, not facts, do not need to be taken as such. If you have a differing opinion, please do feel free to leave it in the comments below. Just make sure you're keeping it respectful, there is no need to be mean if you do not agree. With that being said, let's get into it then, shall we? I feel like I'm getting good at doing that. I don't trip over my words anywhere near as much anymore. Look at me go. So, first post of the day is posted by French Fry Bandito. Am I the porthole for getting an extra order of fries for my girlfriend? I immediately know. I would always be happy to receive extra fries, especially if I ain't paying for it. I feel like I'm going absolutely crazy for this being an argument, and I need someone objective to tell me that I fucked up. My girlfriend? Oh my goodness. My girlfriend? See, this is why you shouldn't be reading the sentence ahead before you've even read the words that you're on. I do this all the time. It's annoying. My girlfriend is a French fry bandit. She always takes half of my French fries without fail. When we go out and I get a burger with fries, I already know half are going to her. My issue is that French fries are one of my favourite foods because I have the palate of a child. But honestly, chips in any shape or form are also my favourite food. Genuinely, could eat them until they come out of my ears. I always get myself a side of fries, and I always ask my girlfriend if she wants fries as well. It's always a no. But once they show up, half go to her. So recently, we were out for dinner and I wanted steak frites. She wanted a salad. I was hungry and admittedly had a bad day and was grouchy, and I asked her if she also wanted fries with her salad. She said no. So when the server came, I ordered for us, and I ordered my steak frites and a salad for her and an extra side of fries. She said that she didn't want fries. I said that I wanted extra fries, so we pushed on. When the server dropped off the food, I immediately pushed the extra fries to her. She was upset and said that she didn't want them. Then I said I'd have them. As we got into the car, she told me that I was being a dick and ordering fries for her when she said she didn't want them was incredibly condescending of me to assume I know what she wants. The kicker is, she ate the extra fries. She wanted the extra fries. I ate my fries and she ate pretty much the entire side, even though I was planning on eating them. She's been with me for a year. Of course I know she's gonna eat the fries. She does it every time. She's been pissed about it since, and I feel like I'm taking crazy pills on why I'm the asshole here. Listen, as someone who, has a pretty decent amount of vertical length to me, I can eat a lot and you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know I can put away the amount of food I can. If I'm going out to eat and someone is trying to steal half of my food, I'm going to be severely annoyed. So the best thing you can do is just buy extra, for that person if you know they're constantly eating your food. To be honest, if she was my girlfriend, I would just call her out and be like, you're not taking my food, mate. Either you order your own and eat them, or you stay off my food because I am hungry. So I totally get this. Is it nice and cute as a couple to sometimes pinch a little of each other's food? Sure. But when it's literally every single time, it would drive me mental. That's my food, get off. So, down in the comments, Hippie Witch says ED type behaviour. If she didn't order it or didn't eat the whole serving, then it doesn't count. It's bullshit, and she needs to own up to being a French fry thief. And then Icyfish2154 says, yup, I was going to mention it sounds like ED behaviour. I'm glad I'm not the only one who saw that. I think also sometimes thanks to social media and stuff, there was always this thing of, oh, I always love to pinch a little bit of my boyfriend's food, and it's almost become like this thing. So it doesn't necessarily scream ED type behavior to me. Could it be? Absolutely. Or it could also be that she just doesn't want to pay for her own or have her own, or she just likes being able to take it off his plate. Do you know what I mean? So, Sleeping in the Bushes then says, not the bought hole. I don't know if she thinks it's cute. That's what I was trying to say. They go on to say, but it's clearly dysfunctional. She needs to be honest about what she wants and, at the bare minimum, not attack you for being realistic about the amount of food that you're both ordering. On a more compassionate note, it sounds like she may have an ED, or at the very least, a bad relationship with food. You may want to have that conversation with her. Yeah, and could I also highlight that I do understand that there seems to be this stigma around women ordering actually the amount of food that they actually want to eat in front of guys specifically because they get called greedy or whatever. We've even read posts on here before where blokes have been like, am I the butthole for ditching this woman that I went on a date with because she ate too much? Or it would be someone posting in like, am I overreacting? And they're saying how their date basically texted them after being like, oh, it was a bit off-putting that you ate so much as a woman. So I do get that there is a stigma around that as well. So that could also be why she's stealing his food, because when you take that in on a day-to-day basis, you're hearing this stuff. And again, social media has a lot to answer for with things like this because it's basically being shoved down your throat 24/7. This is why I came off all social media, because I couldn't deal with all that. Like, I'm too much of an anxious person. It's easy to take that in and it sticks with you, and then your behavior alters to fit that expected dynamic that you think is now expected of you. Does that make sense? So, that could be at play here too a little bit. Who knows? So then Sir Ed Calotte says, this 100%. Be clear with her. From now on, you will give her the opportunity to choose if she wants fries. If she says no, she will get 1 or 2 of your fries and no more. You will say no as many times as necessary and remind her that she had the chance to order her own. If she wants fries, then it's time to be a big girl and order her own. Exactly. I do feel there could be something going on, or it could just be that she thinks it's cute. Like, who knows? Either way, a conversation needs to be had, because having a strop with someone because they don't want you eating all their food constantly is not okay. Funnily enough, let them have their food. Goodness me. Sharing is caring and all that, but if you're constantly pinching my fries, we're gonna have a problem, mate. So, next post, posted by Just There with an extreme amount of zeros. Am I the butthole for telling my sister-in-law to stop coming to my house uninvited when no one is home? My wife gave a key to our house to her sister. I thought this was a backup copy in case we lost a set of our keys. But several times over the last few weeks, I have come home to find our sister-in-law at my house when neither I nor my wife are home. She is always at my house to eat. What? Yeah, no, absolutely not. She either makes a lunch with the food in the fridge, pantry, or helps herself to leftovers, including leftovers from eating out that were brought home. I didn't like this, so I asked my wife to tell her sister to stop. But my wife wouldn't do it. She said she didn't have a problem with it. Yeah, but it's not just your house, my love. So I sent a text to sister-in-law and told her that I wasn't comfortable with her letting herself into my house and taking food without asking, and asked her to not do it anymore. Now my wife, her sister, her other siblings, and her parents are furious with me. Of course they are, because apparently they all thought that this was absolutely normal behaviour to do. They all say that I am in the wrong and am unreasonable. In their opinion, the sister-in-law isn't doing anything wrong because none of them would have a problem with me doing the same to them. Do you know what then? I'd be going into their houses and just helping myself to all sorts, like turning up, walking in, grabbing a load of food and leaving. See how long it takes before they get annoyed. to me, that isn't the issue. I wasn't okay with what the sister-in-law was doing, so I told her to stop. It's my and my wife's house, not anyone else's. No, I don't think this OP is in the wrong at all. I understand there are some families that have that dynamic, but at the end of the day, it's the OP's house too, not just theirs. The wife is going to have to understand that if the OP doesn't want the sister coming in and taking all their food, which by the way, doesn't matter where you're in the world anymore, I don't think. Food is just extortionate. I've noticed now that sometimes my weekly food shop can be like 150 quid. Bear in mind that I'm feeding kids and that my youngest is like a bottomless pit and I do not know where it goes. I'm genuinely thinking they have a black hole in their legs, empty legs. I don't know. Don't know where it goes. So I'm pretty certain that, yeah, that could be contributing to how much mine costs, but still, it costs a lot, especially when you're wanting to have like a good mixture of fruits and things like that. They cost a lot of money. So having someone coming into your house and taking your food, I'd be like, no, are you going to contribute to the food bill? No? Well, then pack it in. And not only that, it's a bit of a violation, isn't it, really? Just coming into the house when no one's there and rummaging through all their stuff. Like, yeah, it might only be their fridge and their cupboards, but it's still a violation. So down in the comments, Been There, Done Many says, get a key to their houses and start making your lunches. Here, here. Funsker8220 says, breakfast at 5 a.m. Yes, and very loudly. Be very loud when you're making the breakfast. Honestly, I genuinely think if it was the other way around and the OP was coming in, letting himself into their house, taking whatever food they wanted, all of a sudden, I reckon they'd start having a problem with it. It's weird behaviour anyway. Even if you are close to your family, once or twice now and then, say if, your sibling's like, oh, we had this real nice cake and we've got loads left over, and you go, oh, do you mind if I have a bit? Do you mind if I go and grab a bit? And they're like, yeah, I'd be like, that's fine. That's not a problem. That's okay. All the time, though, that is wild to me. Oh my goodness. So, next post, posted by NoWishbone4844. Am I the butthole for refusing to change my name? I, 33F, recently left my husband, and one of the things we're fighting about now is my last name. For some background, I have a PhD in computer science and work in academia. I've published papers, presented at conferences, reviewed research, and built a professional reputation that's tied to my legal name. When we got married, I did not want to change my last name. I wanted to keep my maiden name because all of my degrees and early publications were under it, and I knew changing my name would make things more complicated professionally. My husband insisted it was a deal breaker. He said he couldn't marry someone who wouldn't take his name. I understand absolutely being like, hey, we're getting married and taking the husband's name just because it feels natural, that's what you want. But when they are so insistent about it and it's like the be all and end all, I'm just like, I don't know, it gives me a weird feeling of they want ownership, and I don't like that. I completely agree that it's absolutely fine to take your husband's name. You could take your wife's name if you want to as the husband. If you're two husbands, you take whoever's name you fancy. Two wives, take whoever's name you fancy. I couldn't care less about someone changing their name for their partner. I think it's a sweet way to commit to someone and feel connected to them if that's what feels right to you. But if it doesn't feel right to you and the other person's like, this is a deal breaker, you have to take my name, I feel that they want you to do that to feel some sort of ownership, and I don't know, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. Either that or this whole toxic masculinity mindset that the world seems to want to push onto blokes, that they have to have their wife do this, or they are less of a man because their wife doesn't want to do that, I don't know, there's something about it that gives me an ick, and I'm not sure if I'm explaining the way I feel about it right, but I don't know, something about that forcing it on people, that's what I'm trying to say. Forcing it onto people gives me an ick because the reasonings behind it I feel are just like, iffy territory, I remember specifically explaining that my career would be tied to whatever name I used, and I still remember his response because it bothered me even then. Was probably the red flag you should have listened to, my love. He laughed and said something along the lines of, that's good, then you won't be able to just leave me over some stupid shit like dreaming I did something wrong, see? See what I mean about that feeling of ownership because you've made them take your last name? This is exactly what I'm referring to, of why people feeling that they have to force someone to do it gives me the ick. Again, I don't mind the whole concept of it if it's a mutual agreement, but the feeling of being like, you have to do it. Ugh, this is why. For context, I've been the primary earner throughout our marriage. My husband has mostly been unemployed. He does things like Uber on and off, using a car I bought, but I've paid the mortgage, bills, insurance, and pretty much everything else. I've now left him for reasons like that. The issue is that now he wants me to change my last name back immediately. Tough titties, mate. You can't tell the OP that she can't have that name anymore. In fact, I've got a couple of friends that have ended up getting divorced and kept the last name that they changed to, because either their kids have it or, like the OP says here, there's a lot of stuff tied to that name that would be a pain in the butt to change. So yeah, I don't think it's that deep, honestly, if you decide to keep it. Ironically, I'm refusing for exactly the reason I gave him years ago. Since getting married, I've published even more papers, supervised graduate students, received grants, and become known professionally under my married name. Changing it now would create confusion with citations, collaborators, students, and my personal identity. Plenty of academics keep the same name after divorce for exactly this reason. Yeah, like celebrities do it as well, don't they? They don't just refer back to their old name. I mean, a lot of them don't even change their name when they get married, but if they do, they tend to keep the marriage name for that reason. He's furious. He says I'm stealing his family name and damaging the reputation of his family by continuing to use it without staying in it. His family does have a history locally. Several older relatives were major landowners and business owners decades ago. Well, that's decades ago, mate. He needs to get over it. So the surname is somewhat recognisable where we live. It's giving spoilt brat syndrome, honestly. But my husband himself isn't a public figure, and neither of his parents or siblings, and they have mostly lost the wealth now due to gambling and bad decisions. Yeah, this is like screaming, Nepo kid goes broke. Like, the entitlement the husband has is crazy. And I think he's obviously pouting as well, because his whole idea of you can never leave me if you have my name has gone completely and fallen flat, hasn't it? I pointed out that he was the one who insisted I take the name despite knowing that it would become attached to my career. He says that's different because we were married then, and now I'm using his family name without belonging to the family anymore. My love, it doesn't sound like your family name comes with any perks. He's acting as if the OP is riding on the coattails of his last name, and it's like, dude. Like, there are no benefits to your last name. Literally, it's the OP that's the one that's been holding up you loser. So, down in the comments, Lizzie says, lol, no, not the butthole. Though a bit of a butthole to yourself for marrying this dude in the first place. Exactly. Like, obviously gentle butthole to yourself, like accidental butthole to yourself, I assume. I know how easy it is to ignore red flags sometimes within a relationship, when you are in, you know, the honeymoon phase, or you're planning a wedding and stuff like that, and everything's all la, but definitely we all need to agree as a society to be a bit more open to seeing red flags when they become viewable, and not ignoring them because we give excuses of, oh, there's just a lot going on at the minute, or, you know, it's just a bad time at the minute. No, take them for what they are. Don't do this to yourself. So the nice Marmot says, wow, the red flags were sure all there, weren't they? Assuming this is a real post, OP needs to stop worrying about this or anything else this guy says. Exactly, if they ain't had kids, there is no need for the OP to keep in contact anymore. A solicitor can do all the in-betweeny stuff if the OP is able to afford a solicitor. I would go down that route and be like, you can talk to my solicitor from now on, I want nothing more to do with you, thank you. Hopefully, they don't have kids together and she never needs to see him or talk to him again. The communication can be directed to a lawyer, exactly. He has no power to force her to change her name, and it's time for OP to stop giving 1 second's thought to this buffoon. Therapy recommended to understand why they chose a person like that in the first place and to avoid doing it again, though. Okay then, so I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that'll be your initiation into the Covenant Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Don't forget to leave an offering of a comment for Big Al. Bye!